Today's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix. Today on TRS, we check out the French action film Sleepless Night.
The Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad
Show. Today in movies, we are talking about a French film called Sleepless Night. As you can tell, Alex is no longer with us. But it's okay. He's crossing over with. No,
He's still with us.
Mike, who is behind the camera.
Now Alex is behind
in front of the camera.
So hopefully
It's no longer. You're no longer with us. If you don't want to be like Alex, you can actually go watch Sleepless Night right now. If you're watching us, you probably have the means to download and watch Sleepless Night. I believe it's on iTunes because of Tribeca Film Festival?
Yep.
Okay. Or video on demand in some capacity. I actually saw it a while ago, but it's because it was a big award winner in the festival circuit. Not an award winner, but it got a whole big to do in the festival circuit, and they're actually writing a remake of it as we speak.
How could
American
possibly have
remake. And it's by a Frenchman whose name I will struggle with, Frederic Hardin? Frederic Hardin?
You're looking at me like I'm going to correct you.
I am.
I'm not going to do.
Okay. What would you say if you were me? Is what that look was.
Voulez-vous coucher avec
And
moi?
it's about a cop who, the whole thing, almost the entire movie takes place in a nightclub, and a cop has to get his son back who's being held hostage, and there's a bag of money that we're tracing, and there's corrupt cops, and
not money, but
it's a bag of stuff, and it's one hell night in this nightclub where just everything keeps piling up and going wrong. It's one, as you might say, sleepless night. Mike.
Yes.
What did you think?
Well, I am a fan of 24. Huge fan of 24. I'm a huge fan of Taken, that movie Taken.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yeah.
Love all these movies.
Yeah.
This movie is like all those movies. They all loved each other for a long time. They got together and they made this one
voulez-vous
movie.
coucher
They
avec moi?
certainly did. All these movies combined into one of those movies.
It's a giant French kiss of those movies.
It is. Oui, oui.
It's menage a trois
between 24 and Die Hard.
Oh, the French hate us, don't they?
I know.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this movie. Basically because it is an action movie from the very beginning. We start off with a car chase right from the very beginning. Like the credits start on a car chase, basically, and it takes us into this nightclub, and we're in this nightclub for the rest of the movie. We stay in the nightclub for the entire movie, and crazy action happens amongst the thumping beats of this, a lot of dancing, and it's a club, so they're doing all kinds of crazy club things in there.
We don't really know what
We don't.
We play video games
We don't
and
do that.
we
so,
don't know what that's. I
I think they're playing Magic?
Yeah, I think so. One of those rooms, I think they were playing Magic. I think I saw that. But it is an unrelentless, non-stop action from the very beginning to the end.
You and I both share a love of film scores.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Never mind. What did you think of the score for this movie?
I love the score of this movie, and it's very reminiscent of The Dark Knight.
Yes.
The beginning of the movie starts off just like the beginning of The Dark Knight does,
Right.
and it's almost exactly the same score, and I thought it was for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the score, since we're in a dance club, the score incorporates this kind of thumping beat dance music the entire time, because we're in this club for a span of like 24 hours in the movie, and so the music is constantly, it's just it's help. It's not that it needs any help
Right.
with all the action, but it helps churn along the movie, and really I thought it was very effective how they mixed in the source sound,
with the
along with the
brooding.
Yeah. So I absolutely loved it. It has a great story to it that I actually felt really sorry for this guy who was in this situation. I don't know how much we want to get into it, but and by the end of it, I really kind of felt for him, and so it was a great movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, Jeff, what you're alluding to, there's a lot
I
of
alluded to anything.
what he was alluding to.
I'm alluding over here.
There's a lot of shades of gray with our protagonist.
In fact, we don't really ever know. We don't really ever know.
Yeah.
Which
and I know you love Shades of Grey.
I do.
And Shield
It's my favorite
and cops
shades.
and corruption and right. What did
Indeed.
you, and you love Die Hard.
I love Die Hard. I love Die Hard.
Love the French.
And this definitely feels like Die Hard. I love the sort of subgenre of the one location action movie. I think that is. There was a time after Die Hard was a huge hit where we had Die Hard in an X, Die Hard in a Y, Die Hard in a Z.
Train.
Boat. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And
Planes.
I always really like those movies because what's fun about them is the ingenuity required for our hero to make use of his environment, to stay alive in the environment, and that feeling of like, oh my God, if I was in that situation, what would I do? This movie does a lot of things really great with that premise, and other things where I'm like, really? It's got to be the nightclub with the worst security of all time, right? No one at any point calls the cops or security for the nightclub. And the bad guy's motivations are really kind of odd. If you stop and think about certain things, it's like, no one would do that. I could suspend my disbelief enough to enjoy it. And what I really liked the most, the action moments never ever felt choreographed. It was always desperation. It always came out of chaos and dealing with what you could deal with at the moment and pulling stuff out of a drawer and falling, and it never felt like a clean punch. It always felt like, what might happen in that situation, which is this chaotic sort of just trying to survive through it.
I want to put a magnifying. That's a very interesting point you made, and it's similar because the movie, in one sense, is a very similar premise to The Raid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Action scenes, polar opposites. Action
Couldn't be more
scenes
different.
in The Raid,
Completely
the police officer will suddenly get into a martial arts stance, and there's a martial arts fight scene that doesn't really mesh with the characters. This movie, maybe it sounds like you guys are saying it's as intense and don't look at me like that. What? As intense and the fight scenes as brutal, but portrayed in a different way.
Completely, yeah.
Right.
And I thought effective in that way. I mean, I would rather see The Raid again than this.
I didn't mean to put words in the mouth.
Not at all. I think this movie's fun and clever, and there's a lot of those chaotic things. You really feel like he's an everyman. He's not a Superman.
Right.
He's just an average everyday cop in this terrible situation, and he does some really smart things. He does some really stupid things, like he has the worst hiding places that you could possibly pick for stuff.
But isn't that more realistic, I think? Like,
I guess.
if you were in that situation and you'd be like,
Make some wrong decisions.
Yeah. You would be like, oh.
I believe the lead actor's name is Tomer Sisley or something like that. What did you think of his performance?
I think it's great.
Yeah, really good.
So I sense he's the kind of guy who we would next see in America as like a Bond villain.
Totally. I was just going to say he's Clive Owen. He's Clive Owen from The Croupier. It's that kind of a breakout performance.
Yeah.
And I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, I loved it. And the other aspect of it that I really loved is that you never really know exactly who is on whose side.
Right.
Pretty much the entire movie,
Even when it's over.
Even when it's over.
I didn't like the end, to be honest. We won't talk about specifically what it is, but it felt, it's very French. It just sort of ends, and there's no. It's just sort of like,
ambiguous.
oh, okay, I guess that's the end point now.
Yeah,
but we could have had a whole nother.
It was different. It left you to think about what else has happened.
I mean, I definitely think it's worth a movie worth seeing, but I didn't.
Especially,
I wasn't wowed.
You weren't
download
wowed.
it.
Interesting. Gotcha.
Just go and download it off iTunes.
That is Finn.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Dan Trachtenberg?
No, I'm not sponsoring.
You
Why
should
not?
be.
But Netflix is.
Oh.
Netflix, guys, is a way to stream movies and TV shows directly to your home via your PC, your Mac, your Xbox 360, your PS3, your Nintendo
Sounds like that would save
Wii.
me time, money, and hassle.
It saves
It
you
does.
all three of those things.
No, at one
I
time?
actually just watched.
At one time, money and hassle?
I just watched the animated Planet Hulk.
Oh.
Great, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the
A lot of the Marvel
I
stuff
reviewed
is-
the Blu-ray.
Yeah, a lot of the Marvel
It is
stuff is great.
fantastic. It actually, I enjoyed it. It's similar to John Carter of Mars, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was almost. It's like a great, and it coming off the Avengers and seeing how awesome the Hulk was. And it really does cool Hulk powers. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it.
Smash.
Anyway,
Plus.
so we're talking about Netflix here. I really actually thought I was talking. I forgot that we were in a sponsorship. For a limited time, you can get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to www.netflix.com/TRS. Also, if you're in the UK or Ireland, you can now enjoy Netflix as well. So go to netflix.co.uk/TRS or netflix.ie/TRS.
Perfect. All right, people. Have a good day.
Check us out tomorrow when we find out what else is on our radar this week.
Today's Twitter question sent in with the hashtag TRSQ was sent in by Todd Youngworth, who is at Toad8787, and he asks, if you had the chance to host a popular game show, what would it be? Game show? I think the easy answer is Price is Right, because everybody loves Price is Right, right? I could do so many
I
fun
was gonna
different
do
things.
Family Feud because I love that sort of like I'm sort of sleazy and
It's
maybe I'll
time for
kiss
the
your
feud.
wife and daughter. Hey,
And you like saying survey says?
survey says. I actually say that in my real life, to be honest.
I would
so
say
should
a
host
show
it.
that they're bringing back in a new incarnation, the dating game, because you get to like
Be awkward.
probe and pry,
Amazing.
and
Yeah.
Sounds like Alex wants to probe the Family Guy.
Heyo.
Family Feud.
I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's so many. I think there's so many fun.
Well,
but
Double Dare
Double
would be
Dare was
great.
what I was
Come
gonna
on,
say.
yeah.
Double Dare.
But are you guys thinking of what would be fun, like the hosting of that specifically,
Yeah.
or you just like that game show?
Yeah, like for me, Family Feud, the hosting of it
what
would
are
be
the
really
hosting
fun.
duties of Double Dare that are better?
Well, what
than,
if you get to like, I want to try that, or like
Or
hosting
throw
a
shit at
Wipeout?
things. Well, Wipeout's just sort of like sitting on a green screen talking
wanna
about
do that.
reading from a prompter.
You don't want to do that.
You don't wanna do that.
Tell me what I don't want to do.
I don't wanna
But
do
you
that.
also wouldn't want to do that after you did it once and you got wiped
Oh,
out.
I would kill myself.
would-
I would-
I
Yeah.
do want to do that course. I
Me
do think
too.
We should do.
Everyone
as
thinks that'd be
TRS,
amazing.
We
I
should do it.
You guys should do
If you're
it.
watching,
We should all do it.
Wipeout hosts, please destroy us. And thank you for sending your question, Tanya.